I want to find out how this all starts for you.
Okay.
Where does it all begin? Are you like the rest of us? You're the nerd at home in front of the TV and discover wrestling. How's it start for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much. Like I said earlier, I was a fat kid growing up. I was a little chubby kid. And for me, going to school, like that wasn't really the time period where wrestling was cool. I'm sure we've all been there. Like we had a few friends who were like, yeah, wrestling. But for the majority of us, like wrestling wasn't the cool thing to do. But I was a big fan of, like Power Rangers and Batman and superheroes and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And, I discovered wrestling on TV one day and my buddy was into it. And my next door neighbor, and he put it on and I immediately fell in love with it. It was just something about it. And I think, like I said, I like Power Rangers and Batman and all those sort of things. It's just the colorful characters and the athleticism. And plus, I realized that being Batman and being a Power Ranger and being a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, they aren't real life jobs, but I can be a professional wrestler. So that ended up working out well for me. But yeah, I was just a nerdy, chubby kid who loved professional wrestling. And I got very lucky early on because I got to get into a ring for the first time when I was 8 years old. And I might have actually, again, they're bringing this full circle again, I might have actually seen you guys wrestle as, Sex and Hardcastle and Christian. I think I saw you guys at various independent shows under those monikers as well when you guys were first starting. But
yeah, there's a good chance that you saw me wrestle Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant.
Oof.
Yeah.
I was so tapped in because at that point when I was 8 years old, I was doing like the music and stuff for JT.
Oh wow.
Which I'd like to point out, wrestling at takeovers and wrestling on big stages is nowhere near as stressful as it was playing a CD for people's entrances as an 8-year-old boy. The most stressful situation in my life is when someone gave me an AC/DC CD and I had to queue up track 11 at the same exact time. It's before technology and stuff. That was probably the most stressful situation of my life. But yeah,
it's so crazy to like think that is a distinct possibility. Whew.
This whole podcast is just about making you guys feel old, by the way.
Yeah.
Essentially, yes. Thank you for that.
That was my goal. I was like, I'm going to go into this thing and just really make them feel old.
So how did you get, like, when you said you were doing the music and that, how did you get that connection? Because it reminds me that when we were kids, we knew the local promoter ran the motel down the street. So when we knew the wrestling shows were coming to town, we'd just go and hang around the office of the motel till they came out, and we were like, basically thinking he was doing us a favor. We're actually doing him a favor. Like we were saying, hey, we'll do anything. We'll set up the chairs, we'll carry the ring, and he's like, yeah, okay. So we go back there, carry the ring posts, I'll do all the grunt work, thinking it was the best thing ever. But was it kind of the same thing for you?
Kind of. So my dad owns a catering company, and at his catering company, he has a huge parking lot. And in the middle to late 90s, huge parking lots were kind of the go-to for independent wrestling companies. So an independent promotion, JT, Cleveland Opera Wrestling, and things like that, he would come to my dad and be like, hey, you have a huge parking lot. Can we run a show in your back parking lot? And my dad, knowing that I was a huge wrestling fan, said, yes, of course. So we let them run shows. They had like King Kong Bundy and Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Greg the Hammer Valentine and Bruce the Barber Beefcake and all those guys made appearances and stuff. But my dad was like, oh, like if we run a show, can my son like roll around the ring or something like that? Because he knew I was a huge wrestling fan. So they'd run the shows, and actually at one point, and I say this is amazingly unprofessional, by the way. I like to preface this by saying this. But so JT let little 8-year-old Johnny Gargano actually do a dark match, kind of. So me and my friend, who was another 8-year-old kid, I guess the show was running late. So he was like, oh, yeah, Johnny, like go ahead and get in the ring with your friend and put on a match. And again, no training, nothing like that. But I thought I knew what I was doing. So me and my friend got in the ring, and we rolled around a little bit. And in my head, I still remember this. my wrestling name at the time was Jag because John Anthony Gargano is my initials. So my finish at the time was the Perfect Plex, which I called the Jagged Rock.
Wow, good one.
So I distinctly remember this in my head. I was 8 years old, mind you. I was 8 years old. Oh, yeah. I had Jagged Rock. I had Jaggravator. Anything with like you could put AG in that. That's what I was going with. Jagged Edge. There was tons of them, man. So I distinctly remember this in my head. So we're going towards the finish, I guess, at this point. And I hook my friend for the Jagged Rock because, of course, I'm going over. Hook him for the Jagged Rock. And in my head, it is the most beautiful Perfect Plex this side of Kurt Hennig. Like, it is amazing. Like, I got so much hair. Dump 'em, boom, 1, 2, 3. You watch it back, and it's like the worst, tiniest little small package you could ever imagine. Like, it just basically just went, whoop. But in my little 8-year-old mind, WrestleMania, man. That was my moment, and I nailed it. But that's awesome. So I was able to wrestle in a dark match when I was 8 years old.
And now we need to get you a Paul Smackage shirt since that was your first finishing move.